What I want to do today, guys, is I want to cover a little bit about your story. You've got really interesting insights. You see more financials of building companies than maybe 99.9% of the world's population. Like you see 2 or 3 a day, almost every day of the week. So I want to unpack some of that. But you've also lost some money on some of your own flips with family. You've got a winding story. I'm live here today. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Owen Chambers from A Professional Builder, joined by John. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Owen. He's brought the energy.
Oh, dude.
It's going to be hard to keep up with you.
It's good. We're doing a live podcast today, We're at our Builders Summit. We've got all of our team here. We're hanging out. It's going to be great for you to join us. We're going to be discussing some fun stuff, but first, I want to give John his prize. His prize being one of the best on the team for the last little while. Congratulations. Here are your custom TPB budgie smugglers.
Thank you. I've been waiting for these. I've been asking for these since I've got here.
Yeah. It's good that they finally arrived. Wow. Now,
Triple XL. Sweet.
So those are to be not put on during the podcast. Sorry. We'll go and do a bomb comp after this. But John, who are you? What do you do at the Professional Builder?
My name's John. I'm one of the growth advisors at the Professional Builder. So we go on a 90-minute Zoom session together. We work out how we can help their business and what strategies we can put in place to give them a hand, buy them back some time, and make them some more profit.
So good. So you guys on that Zoom session do 3 main things, right? You work out where you're at and where you want to get to. Then secondly, you work out the step-by-step plan with the right strategy to help you get there. And then thirdly, you plug numbers into our dashboard to work out how much time you might be able to buy back or how much profit they can make by implementing these strategies.
Exactly right.
Perfect. Nice. So take us right back to the beginning before we unpack the financials and everything. Where did your journey start? Because it's not the traditional route, is what I would argue.
Yeah, actually, I went to uni out of school, got a job in a bank, was a consultant in a bank, gave that away, started working in a casino for a bit, and then jumped onto my carpentry apprenticeship, and then was a chippy for about 10 years. Did a couple of my own projects during that, was running a few jobs for builders. And then, did some DAs as well. Did my building design course through COVID lockdown, submitted some DAs, kept doing a bit of that, and then trying to wind that down because I found myself in the same spot that builders find themselves in. So just doing every single task in the business because I thought that's the way to make money. But it just led to stress, anxiety, hated the job because 10% of it was fun.
Yeah. I want to get into the building, but I also actually just want to know what you do at the casino. Like, were you dealing blackjack?
Yeah, dealing blackjack, baccarat, and then the best game, craps. So that big American dice game. Dice game in the casino.
Really?
Yeah.
Big house always wins.
We can go there after this podcast.
Well, you know that Shane on the team is like a world-class poker player.
Yeah, he's a shark.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we go to the CAS or maybe we just go to the gym. I don't know. Up to you. But if you reckon you can win crabs for us, then maybe do that.
Yeah.
Why is it your favorite?
Oh, it's just the funnest game, and it's like a team game. So when one person on the table's winning, everyone's winning.
Sure.
So if someone's winning for half an hour straight, the whole table's winning for half an hour straight.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll admit. I'll admit I haven't played it. I'm more of a blackjack player. I like to go in there, go 21. Good luck on your ace.
Yeah.
Just
Blackjack's fun as well.
Absolute menace. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So walk us through. So during COVID, what did you do?
A building design course.
Nice. Awesome.
TAFE, yeah.
Yeah. And then that led into being able to do some of your own, by being a leading foreman and leading carpenter on some sites and stuff.
That was more doing designs for clients. Mm-hmm. So doing the designs, submitting DAs for them, getting them their construction certificate, and then they can start building what I've designed for them.
Yeah, nice. Awesome.
So whether it be a renovation, new build, whatever it was.
Awesome. And why didn't you keep pursuing that? You just were doing everything you said?
Yeah, like I said, I found myself doing everything. So I was dealing with all the consultants, all the councils, all the certifiers, the clients. The only real fun part was actually doing the design on the program that I learned at TAFE. And that made up like 10% of the time. And then 90% of it was just the worst work ever, and I just didn't learn how to ever delegate a job or outsource it because I thought I could save the clients money. I thought I could make more money, and that was
Yeah. So that's something that you see heaps with the people that you talk to, right? Like they come in and they're also busy, quote unquote, busy builders. So they're doing a bit of everything. They're estimating, they're quoting, they're pricing, they're doing the sales, doing the negotiation with the subs, POs, variations, like you name it, they're doing it, dealing with the clients.
Yeah. And I just felt when I was doing that on the building design stuff, I hated it. And I went into it thought that I would like it.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
No. Funny. Yeah. So, that's a conversation that you see regularly, yeah?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in these conversations that you're having with builders and with business owners, what are some of the common themes? It's like they're busy, right? Amongst other things.
Busy. They're just wearing every hat in the business. They don't delegate. They don't outsource. They're working massive hours, like weekends. And that's one thing that probably stopped me as a builder. Like when I was a carpenter, was the builders that I hung around with, and they were like, lost $100,000 on this job, lost $30,000 on that job. And I was just like, I never want that to happen to me. And then the other big one was like, hey, I spent all day Sunday in the office. And I was like, that sounds horrendous. Like, why would anyone want to do that on top of their normal work week?
Yeah.
So they're like the main things where I was like, nah, don't ever want to be a builder.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people fall into the trap of going like, I'll do that work now for a better future, when there's always something to be done in the business, and that better future is always pushed down the road. It's like the famous adage, like you don't get rich at some future date, you get rich incrementally over time.
Yeah.
It's like what are you going to do? Like save 150% of your paycheck after a certain period? So it's not going to happen. Like you need to be doing it every single time some money comes in, like the Richest Man in Babylon sort of book. But like busy builder, what other common themes are you hearing?
Not making money.
Yeah.
Is a pretty big one. Not understanding their numbers is probably the biggest one. Like every builder comes in, just has no idea about their numbers, what kind of profits they're making on their jobs, how to set up their profit and loss correctly. Even though they might have the best accountant in the world or the best bookkeeper, their profit and loss comes in and it's just so messy and it's just so hard to understand.
Yeah.
So that's probably like one of the biggest ones, I reckon.
So what's the thing that their profit and loss isn't set up correctly? Like
So they'll have the allocated, cost of sales. They might not even have a cost of sales or cost of goods sold or however you want to say it. Section, and that shows you all the direct costs of your job and then actually how much profit you're making at the end of the job. And what that profit then does for you is pays for your operating expenses and your net profit, but then you can't really see that if they're not set up correctly.
Yeah.
So they don't know how profitable they are per their jobs, and then that's one of the major things we tackle is their gross profit margin.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of ways so just to recap, if that was quite quick for some people, basically your P&L needs to be set up with total sales, revenue, turnover, whatever you want to call it at the top. Then we go through and we have a cost of goods sold or a cost of sale or whatever we want, or COGS or whatever we want to call this part, and what goes into that.
That's all your direct costs for your project. So whatever the project costs the builder, so that's going to be the materials that he has to buy to build the house, or the subcontractors that he needs, the tipping fees, any direct cost of the job, project management fees, any direct cost that goes into the job has to be in that cost of goods sold section or cost of sales.
Yeah. And normally it's going to be 95% of it's going to be made up of labor, materials, and subs.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you might choose to break that down a little bit further, but those are like the three primary categories. And then it's going to make up like 95% of it. There might be some other stuff that falls around it, but nice. Okay, cool. So basically like total sales at the very top, that's like cost to the client. Cost of goods sold is kind of like cost to you for doing the work, and what's left over is called
your gross profit.
Boom. All right, nice. And from gross profit, we need to pay for two things usually.
Yep.
And what are they?
The operating expenses, and then you're left with your net profit.
So good. Okay, nice. So hopefully that's nice and clear for everybody. And that's why we always say gross profit is the most important number one indicator of the health and well-being of your business, because from gross profit, we need to pay overheads, so cost to run the company, which would be inclusive of your salary as a business owner. So basically like what you're getting paid, and then the bonus for being a business owner, the net profit. So gross profit needs to pay for both of these things, and both of them are important, because without one, overheads, let's say, you've got no people or process, and without the other, you got no profit.
Yeah.
And I say, what the fuck's the point in being in business? You know, if you're not going to make a profit, you might as well go work for somebody else. Get, as you said before, less stress, anxiety, late nights, long weekends, the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yeah. Annual leave, sick leave.
Yeah, you get all that. It's how good, right? Yeah. So it's funny because just off camera before we were talking, like you have what? How many conversations per week would you have with builders? Like 10, 20?
10, yeah.
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 Yeah. So let's easy round numbers. 10 different businesses, but all residential construction companies.
Yeah.
Every single week. So you're seeing 10 P&Ls at a minimum.
Yeah.
You're having 10 different conversations, but you're saying they're not really that different.
They're the same. They're pretty much the same conversations over and over again.
Yeah. So, and they are, I'm busy. I don't know my numbers. What else? Like, what other stuff you say?
Busy, don't know my numbers, not making any profit. I'm like, why aren't you making any profit?
Yeah. So, okay.
Where's the money going?
Yeah.
I think they're pricing right. They're not.
Yeah. Okay. So it's basically the same conversation over and over. And that's probably because we only work with the residential construction companies. And there's just like 4 or 5 SKUs within the same conversation. But what are some of the solutions that are common? Like, what are the typical prescriptions or solutions that you're working with these businesses on?
Yeah, for sure. So like around the money side of things, that's those 9 margin levers that we spoke about. So what we spoke about with the gross profit margin, it's how to either increase that or protect it.
Yeah.
So I've got those 9 margin levers. So 4 front end levers. So before any job started, you know, your marketing, your sales process, how you position yourself as a builder, and then pricing to that target margin, which, you know, builders, lots of builders use markup, but yeah, you can use your markup, but you want to be aiming for a target margin with that markup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once the job started, you know, like tracking your labor. So making sure you're doing work in progress reports, back costing all your jobs, making sure you've got a solid variation process in place. So you're not leaving any money on the table for variations, making sure your contracts are protecting on the back end and, you know, your material lock-in rate and your subcontractor lock-in rate. Mm-hmm. So really just nailing down on those 9 ways to either increase your margin or protect it.
Yeah. So good. Because often, and you'll see this in P&Ls regularly, you'll calculate their gross profit margin, and you'll do that by taking the figure of gross profit and dividing it by total sales.
Yeah.
And then timesing it by 100 to get a percentage.
Yeah.
And we know that a target margin should be 20+%. So there should be a 2 in front of it.
Yeah.
Right? Minimum. If we're doing smaller jobs, it should be larger. And if we're doing really, really monster jobs, maybe it could be below that. But the golden ratio should be 20% of gross profit, and then overheads of 8 to 12%, and net profit of 10 to 15 or 10 up, ideally, sort of thing. But and then you've said that there are ways that we can protect or improve margin. What's more common? Is more people going into a job with low margins, or more people getting margin creep?
Oh, both, I reckon.
Yeah.
They're going in at low margins, or they're not understanding their margins, so they don't actually know how much their labor costs them. If they've got, employees and they don't know, they haven't included their sick pay, their annual leave, they don't know their cost, or they're just charging them at X amount above what they cost them or what they think they cost them. And then just not putting enough on their materials and just the costs of the job.
Yeah.
So that's on the front end, but on the back end, they just don't track their labor. They can't see how profitable they've been for their job. They haven't back costed. So they just really look at the bank account at the end of the day. And then that gets sucked away through all your operating expenses, and they just don't know where the profit's gone. Yeah.
Nightmare, eh? Yeah. I've seen so many builders that have been like, I'm pricing my work at 22, 23%. I'm doing great. But then they'll look at their P&L, and it's like 16, 17, 18%. Like, no, what? And they don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
It's because they're not back costing their jobs or really even sort of unpacking that very well.
Yeah.
And realizing that there's margin creep through every single project.
For sure. And I'll tell you what else is a big one. Like, some builders won't pay themselves a salary, but they'll be swinging a hammer for 40 hours of the week. And I'll be like, hey, look at my margins, like 25%. I'll be like, mate, have you counted for the $100,000 you'd have to pay someone else if they had to do your job? And they're like, nah, haven't thought about that. And then we actually go through, and then we're like, hey, you margined it at like 5%, 6%, 7%.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you have to pay someone else, if you looked at this as a business owner, you had to employ someone else to do this job, you have to pay them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it just ends up being a busy job with way more risk, liability and attached to it. And it's horrible.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. On that, so interesting combo, but I kind of jumped the gun earlier when you were walking us through kind of like your timeline of working the casino and other places and being a banker. But tell us like leading sites, being a foreman, and then doing a couple of flips, right?
Yeah.
Like you've done the game as well. So tell us about some of the stories from that.
Yeah, I just love building. I think I just love residential building and like creating a nice space and a nice home, and then getting the missus and she can do all the interiors, and I can just sit back and just be like, yeah, I'll take care of the building, you take care of the interiors. So I just love it. I've been through it, bought a unit, and I flipped it when I was like an apprentice. So that was a pretty shoddy build. Like it wasn't the best. But I reckon I just learned so much. But I was only like a second year apprentice and I did it because I was a mature age apprentice. So I had a little bit of money behind me from working those past years. Made a bit of money, got in a bit of trouble because I turned it into a 2-bedroom without telling council or strata or anything. Then banks valued it at a 1-bedroom, so the person couldn't get a loan for it. And it was just a bit of a nightmare. But that was one of them. But hey, I learned the lessons the hard way. And if I could give someone that advice, they probably won't learn those same lessons the hard way. They'll probably save all the money, but
Classic. And then, nice. So what do you reckon you'd say to somebody that was, potentially stuck in being a busy builder, stuck in not being able to do some flips or making the similar mistakes or starting their journey in construction? Like, what do you reckon you'd say to them? Or would you say to decade-year-old, like 10-year younger John?
Well, I say this to myself, like I hadn't heard of TPB before I started with them. I had no idea about business coaching for builders. Like I just didn't know it was a thing. And I tell a couple of builders that I speak to, I go, mate, if I knew about these guys 5 years ago, I'd probably be sitting on the other side of the screen and I'd probably be a TPB member. But all that time's passed. I'm here now. This side of the screen, still love building. Like I can still do these flicks on the side and things like that. So I can still get my fix. But this is a really exciting place. And I'll just be like, the best sports people have coaches. If you want to be good at your game, like get a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't read the label from inside the bottle, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, and that's why I think that these events here are really great with, because what we end up with is you got 120 members downstairs and they're in a room. And they're having conversations. They're like, that's happening to you as well? Interesting. Like, it's a notoriously tight-lipped industry. You're not having chats down at the pub around like pay rates, material rates, what you do with shitty clients, what you do with bad contracts, what you do with POs or variations, or, where to recruit or how to get leads or how to close leads when they say, build it down the roads, but cheaper than you. These are not chats that you typically have at the pub, but they are chats that you can have in a private, closed and professional community of people that are running businesses just like yours.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another big thing is like, because I did do a business degree, I didn't put much time and effort into it, but that, I just paid off my HEX debt a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like essentially what these builders are getting a business degree, but tailored to their business where they're going to get a return. So from what I did, paid X amount of dollars, didn't get anything out of it, to what they get to do that's directly affecting their business or directly
there's like just
on their business.
Exactly, because there's just-in-time learning and just-in-case learning. And doing a business degree is kind of like doing just-in-case learning, because you're not running a business, or some are, but most are not running a business while they're doing their business degree. So they've got nothing to apply the learnings or the lessons onto, whereas doing it while you're running your building company is like, you run, like it's a Thursday today, right? So it's very possible that there's going to be a deadline that needs to be hit between now and the end of the week. And you're going to have a crucial conversation with the foreman around what have we achieved this week and what needs to get planned and scheduled in for next week. And you might need a system or a process or a script or a conversation with somebody around that. You're not going to get it from your business degree, but also if you don't have the business, you can't then implement the system straight away. Like there is no better time to do just-in-time learning than when you're running your business, you're in the weeds and you want to get a fix immediately. It's like you can take this stuff and apply it same day, get a result next day because you're operating the vehicle already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So good. What do you reckon some of your more interesting stories or interesting businesses, we'll keep them anonymous, but that you've kind of spoken to in the last 12 months or so?
The most interesting ones are how much debt some of these businesses get into.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe they're crawling back from $300,000, $500,000 worth of debt. That's probably the craziest thing. And then having such big operating expenses and then a couple of jobs fall through and they've got nothing to pay for them because 2 jobs have fell through at the very end, like last minute.
Yeah.
So they're probably the biggest, craziest stories. And I just go, wow, like if that happened to me, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. It is crazy. And I think what it highlights for me is a couple of things. That marketing one, like that pipeline one, is that never call off the hunt too early. Like, you should always be marketing because you never know if somebody's going to bail at the 11th hour. And you're like, I've now got 8 guys and a 2, 3, 4 week or month gap. And that's terrifying. That's how you get in overdraft immediately if you then don't make the decision and get rid of everybody straight away. And then you've got to build your entire team back up. So what we're really looking at is resiliency, sustainability, and a really sound back to basics and foundation business that can grow and then grow again.
100%. And I know exactly how these builders feel. Like, it is a good feeling getting word of mouth, like referrals. You're doing a good job. And you're like, look at me, I'm a shit hot builder. Like, I don't need to chase work. But it's not even about that. It's just about setting yourself up for that resilient business, not relying on that one funnel, making sure you got multiple funnels because you can't really choose what comes in.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be doing jobs that you want to be doing, you actually have to be doing marketing. You don't want to rely on one funnel.
It always astounds me when people are like, oh, I don't need much marketing. It's like, you can say no to the lead.
Yeah.
And hey, you could say no to the lead by pricing it really high.
Yeah, and then if you win it,
at least you make some real good money, right? Like, it's an open, free market. People can make decisions as grown-ups and adults themselves. You know, it's like, it always makes me laugh when people are like, no, I don't need marketing because I don't need any more work. It's like, yeah, well, what happens when you do? Because when you do, it's too late. You should have been marketing like 2 months or 2 years ago. Because that's how long it takes in our industry for a lead to flow through from inquiry to like
design
and then to cash collection, like getting paid, the thing that keeps the companies alive, right? That can be 2 years sometimes. And it's like, what, you think that you're going to find something next week because something horrible happened and now you've got a gap in the calendar? Like, no, you need to be marketing already. Or they don't realize that marketing is marketing for people as well. And then being the ability to like install really talented, leading hands, project managers, office hands, contracts administrators, whatever it might be that you need.
I always say that to builders that are like, can't get the right guys. I'm like, do you do any marketing? I'm like, do you think good guys want to work for shitty looking companies on Instagram or your social media or shitty builds that they've done? Probably not.
No, hard out.
And that's where your marketing makes you look good.
Yeah.
You want to be good as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. It gives, often the marketing gives a lot of confidence to be able to like go out there and sell yourself and represent the company, because it's like, yeah, nice, I've got some stuff to back me up, rather than just me being the gift of the gab or like, yeah, no, we're really good at quality, don't you worry. It's like, no, here's our quality control checklist. Here's testimonials from our previous clients. Here's our guarantee. Here's our associations and partners that we're with. Here are our preferred partners in the industry, our plumber, our sparky, and so on. So yeah, I hear you, man. So good. Let's land the plane. Like, final words, anything that we haven't covered, anything that you think is interesting that's worth sharing with people?
No, I think we covered a fair bit, but I just reckon it'd feel good to run a professional business than rather just running something that you've winged for the past 10 years, haven't had systems in place, haven't found out what other people are doing that makes them look professional and things like that.
Yeah. So good, man. Well, we get feedback. So you take calls and people come out of those calls, and I've seen this feedback saying that 2 hours was more helpful than the last 2 years of my previous business coach.
Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah, it's happened. So kudos to you, dude. You're very good at what you do, and we love having you on the team. I know that when we go into battle, I'm like, John is on the crew. We're going to be okay. So appreciate you, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you later, guys. If you don't already, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. If you think this was an interesting conversation that one of your mates should listen to, then send it to them directly. That's how we manage to grow. We get cool people like John onto the team, and we get amazing members into our community. Or if you'd like to join the community, then get in touch with us, shoot us a DM, and just let us know that you want to be booked with John for a deep dive and a strategy session, and we can make it happen. Talk soon. Cheers.